Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 9. We're going to do a little bit of review, but we're going to take it further than that. We're going to do, I think, what we do better than any other channel in the world, and that is get into the psychology of some of the characters. And tonight we're going to talk about the end of Negan. Now, don't freak out just yet and say, is he going to die? Is he going to leave? We're going to give options, but by the end of Negan, I'm going to develop the concept of what Negan is and what Negan could be and how that could carry over in the future. Hold tight. It will all make sense by the end of it. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. This is the best part of my day, is hanging out with each and every one of you. So before we get too far into it, I do have to give a shout out to that Patreon army up there on the screen. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. What an awesome group of people. There's some names on there that have been names on there for 3-4 years. So thank you for everything that you guys do. And, of course, our PDL sponsors as well. I had a great time playing PDL with you guys last night. One of our best events ever. Even if you're not a gamer, go back and check out last night's stream. A lot of those people weren't gamers when they started playing as well. And they're just getting into the concept of it. It's turn-based. We take our time. But it's a little bit more than playing a game. It's a lot of social aspect. So, look, hopefully you guys have seen, I do have to warn you, there's going to be some spoiler concepts, chat, things that are out there. I know we've talked full spoilers, and if you're here tonight, I can't stop the hype and the excitement and the spoiler talk from happening. So just be warned that people are going to talk about Negan and Alpha and the opening minutes and the cave and what's going to happen. But we know kind of the way it starts, and we know the way it finishes, but we've got to drill down and get to all that neat stuff in between. The stuff that the spoilers don't really tell you, because spoilers are usually, 10 bullet points? This, and this. And I know Spoiling Dead Fans Page does a great job with their sources. It's hard to say 5 times fast. But we're always a little bit surprised when we see the dialogue. And when I saw the opening minutes, and then I saw the Negan scene, I have to admit, I was a little surprised. Now, I know what a lot of people want to talk about, and what a lot is kind of turning your stomach at this point, is Negan getting with Alpha. There is a twisted psychology to that, probably from a Negan standpoint, but here's what bothers me about how Negan is going about things. Even his best outcome is going to be a big, big problem for the group. Here's what I mean by that. So we know that Negan gives up Gamma. So how many people here are just comfortable with whatever Negan is doing? You know, he's just kind of throwing names out there, throwing people under the bus. How many people are just comfortable with him, starting naming people like, well, here's the problem. Here's your spy. The spy's not over there. The spy is on the inside. This was unsolicited. So she didn't ask him for his opinion. He just gave her opinion. So he is either trying to fit in, or he's trying to get her trust and her respect. And I will support either way. Either way you say it, I'll go along with it. For tonight's episode, I'm gonna entertain any concepts. We got Scott Kernan in the house. What's up, Big Scott? Good to see you, man. All right, Marcia says I'm okay with it, and that's fine, because some people are, some people aren't. But for the sake of argument, how many people are okay with it? How many people are okay with Negan, like, I don't care, he's just giving Gamma up? Raise your hand if you are. Because what we're going to talk about tonight, and you will not find this on any other Walking Dead channel. I will stake our claim to this right here, right now. We go a step further, and a step further, and a step further. So I want to target the people that are okay with it. Because if you are, actions have consequences. So Moonshot says he has a plan. Okay, but all plans don't work out. So what happens when he throws Gamma under the bus? Beta goes batshit crazy. Sorry, the only analogy I could think of. Storms into Alexandria and goes Jason Voorhees and starts killing innocent people, possibly because Negan ratted out Gamma as a traitor. So, are you still okay with it? Are you still okay with Negan just randomly trying to build his own status at the sacrifice of Gamma and other innocent people throughout Alexandria? So, maybe you're still okay with that. Now, if you were okay with Negan giving up Gamma for no reason, and now you're still okay with innocent people in Alexandria getting murdered, who's still okay with it? Because I'm going to take it to a third level. I'm going to take it to, why in the world is he doing this in the first place? So Eric Beach says, kills, you're reaching for that. Okay, possibly. So, are you okay with Negan possibly having knowledge and sitting idly by while Alpha... How many people have seen the opening minutes? Raise your hand, give this video a like if you've seen the opening minutes. Okay, I give it Matthew Smith, I'm fine. Here's the thing though. Take your stance and stick with it. Because I'm gonna give you several examples. You guys should know at this point. I don't start down a pathway or a walkway unless I'm willing to go a little bit further and a little bit further. So if you've seen the cave scene, what should happen in the cave? All right, we've got Daryl, we've got Carol, we've got Jerry, Connie, Kelly, Aaron. So we got all of them in the cave. You guys did see Alpha standing up there with the torch, right? And then walking out of the cave and saying, make sure they don't survive. Make sure they don't get out. All right. So, are you still okay with Negan not playing his hand and not doing anything to stop that event from happening? Now, we know that our group always prevails, right? But in the real world, groups don't prevail. Oh, okay. So now, Jason Moonshot, you are a Negan defender. So now he's oblivious to the cave and everything else is going on. So here we go. That's what I wanted to do. Now you're picking and choosing what he knows and what he doesn't know. That, my man, is called you're overly supporting based on what you want him to be. So Negan knows what's going on with Gamma. He knows to throw her under the bus, even though Alpha doesn't know what's going on with Gamma. But he's just so oblivious to everything that she's doing behind the scenes. Nope, that is not correct. That's impossible. If he's got his eye on Gamma, you can't, honestly, you can't tell me that he is here with the Whispers and he doesn't know that some diabolical stuff is going on behind the scenes. This is Alpha. This is Beta. They kill people. Negan's a part of that group. He didn't just sign up and then he knows what they were before he joined them. So he didn't just join them and then they stopped doing all this stuff because Negan is there. So my point to this is, are you okay? Because in the real world, heroes don't always escape the caves. Now, I have a little bit of a problem. I'm not going to use our favorite word, plot hole. But how many of you have seen movie after movie time after time where a group is tied up. Maybe you go all the way back to whatever movie you can think of. And the leader always walks out and says what? Like, all right, boys, kill him. And the leader, he gets an early start and goes and gets in the car and leaves and assumes that the henchmen take care of the job for him. So it's cliche, right? It happens over and over again. So I'm not totally happy that The Walking Dead did that. Here's the problem with that. Alpha didn't do it with Sadiq, and she didn't do it with Tara, and she didn't do it with, she made Sadiq watch why she did it, why the blood was all over her hands. So while she's killing Henry, she was there for it. And then they did the pike. But so this time in the cave, when she has them right there, she could throw fire down at them, just burn them up. But she doesn't. She's up there, Carol screams, and she says, make sure they don't get out. Now, I'm thinking, look, I don't want to speak this into existence, but the reality is Alpha should have just killed him, right? She's got him at a disadvantage. Just kill him right there and then move on, and then you never have to rely on anybody else to do it. But clearly, that is going to fail. We know from the spoilers that's going to fail. But if it didn't fail, that's the part of it I want to drill down to. Let's just I need you guys to help me out here. Put on your hypothetical hats. Let's just say Alpha kills them all in the cave. She doesn't even leave them for her people to do it. She just does it. And Negan didn't play his hand sooner. Then my question is, are you still okay with Negan playing his role and getting points and getting into the psychology of Alpha? If it cost Daryl and Carol and Jerry and Aaron and all of them their lives, is it still a good move for Negan to be playing the role of Negan right now? Of just ratting people out and giving the speech of, hey, I was a leader for a long time too, and it happens this way. So, I know he's either trying to gain her trust, very well maybe trying to gain her trust. So, do I think Negan knows that people are stuck in the cave? Sure, I think he knows people are stuck in the cave. There's whispers there. I just don't know that Alpha is doing these things and Beta doesn't know about it and Gamma doesn't know about it and the rest of the group is there. You're going to have to assume that Negan is just like a hunter or a gatherer. So I think he's indifferent toward it. That's why I'm concerned, and that's why this video is called The End of Negan. But see, Johnny Metal, I don't think Negan is saving them. I think Negan is going down a path that is confusing the viewers. And he might be perfectly okay with all of those people. So my point is, why does Negan even care about those people in the cave? See, again, many of you are defending that he's a good guy and he doesn't know they're in the cave, and if he did know they're in the cave, he's going to run in and save them. Why? Why would he care? Why would he care about Daryl and Carol and that group that wants him dead? They haven't done anything for him. He saved Aaron's life, and Aaron wanted him to die. He left this group. He didn't leave and whisper to somebody and say, hey, let me go get in on the inside. He left to get away. But we're still of the mindset that it matters to him whether these people live or die. And I'm going to take it even a step further. Amy Bone says Negan's only going to care until it affects him directly, Lydia or Judith. Exactly. He cares about Judith. This is what I want you guys to take away from this stream. Why would he even want to save? Let's just say he saves them again and they stick him back in jail. What did he really accomplish? He could have just stayed in jail. So now we have this circle of Negan left, and then the group gets trapped in the cave. Negan finds out. He goes and helps them. He kills Alpha. He kills Beta. Daryl and Carol, well, they still want him dead. So he doesn't accomplish anything. And that's where the writers have a real problem again with Negan. It seems like every time we get to this situation with him, they run into an issue, right? He killed too violently, and they had to do so many things to get people to like him. And now he's got so much charm and charisma on the show and outside the show, it's hard for him to be perceived as a neutral character because most of the audience thinks it's so predictable that Negan is just there to do something miraculous for the group. And I just don't think that's the case. Because let's take it to step number 4. If Negan was standing right beside Alpha, see, this is where it's going to get really tricky. I'm going to put you guys on the ropes here because I've kind of heard the feedback and you guys have told me, nope, Negan's got a plan. Nope, Negan has a right to turn over Gamma. Nope, Negan doesn't know they're in the cave. But what if he does know? If Alpha and Negan are standing right by the front entrance of that cave and all those people are trapped down there, how many people here honestly think that Negan is going to try to talk her out of it or do anything at all to help that group, to throw them a lifeline? Does anybody here think that he would sacrifice himself to help anybody in that cave if it meant Alpha would turn on him? Because, and I'm sorry to say it like this, if you say yes, you might not understand the psychology of who Negan is and understand the self-centered nature of what he does. So, there is nobody in that cave that makes a difference to him because he's already had to harden himself. He tried to like them. He tried to blend in with them. He tried to get acceptance from them, and they never gave it to him. If it were Michonne in that cave, it's a different story because Michonne has an attachment to Judith. But the rest of them, it doesn't matter. So maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't know. But even if he did, he ain't changing his character. Well, you see, Krampus, I disagree. And that's okay. We can disagree. Krampus says, Negan obviously knows the Whispers are insane, though. He's putting on an act. Or, he has nowhere else to go. And he might just be putting his toe in the water to see how the other side lives. It doesn't mean that he's going to drown, and it doesn't mean that he's going in hook, line, and sinker. But this is where I think the predictability of the story comes back. Because I think there's only two possible things that Negan cares about. Type it in chat right now if you guys can see the direction that I'm going. Because this is where I think the story is going to change. Negan is not going to give up his cover. He's not going to sacrifice himself for anybody in the cave. However, when it gets a little bit further, and I will tell you this, Lydia has got to get back into the story. Now, when it is a situation of, and look, I don't know exactly how they're going to write this out, but if there's a Beta and Lydia situation where Lydia is in trouble, at that point, I think Negan makes a decision. But I just feel like Negan is too much in the know not to be aware that Alpha's attacking, or she's trapping, or she's getting ready to do something, or that Beta's going to react the way that Beta's going to react. And truthfully, he probably doesn't care if a few people in Alexandria get murdered. Maybe Gage will get murdered. Most of us probably wouldn't care if Gage is no longer on the show. Hopefully, the person that's sleeping, the first person that Beta finds, is Gage. And that'll be like ironic justice. But when the story transitions, and it is about Lydia, or it's about Judith, this whole whisper of life, that's not going to be for him. But I know common sense and hindsight and all of that stuff, right? Common sense is common and hindsight's 20/20. From what we've seen about Angela Kang and the way she's articulated this story is that Negan is going to test some people. He's going to do some things. So if she's telling us this, we shouldn't be so eager to say he's just an honest, changed person and he's out there for us. Bones, of course he knows and doesn't care unless he finds something he cares about. And I think in part, the way the Negan character is, if he cares about Judith, I'm not saying he doesn't care about Judith, but if Judith was his only motivation, I think he goes to Oceanside to look for Judith, to be around her. I'm gonna touch on that in a second. Tom Ferreira says he's neutral. He's not a villain, a hero. He's on his own path. You see, Tom, I agree with that. I could not agree with that more. But if I agree with that, it kind of dispels the whole Negan's got something up his sleeve. Now, he may have something up his sleeve, but I don't know that it's necessarily to betray Alpha at this point. But I do think it is going to become that. Something is going to trigger him. And let me get back to what I was saying with Judith, and it ties into Tom's point. I think Negan probably thought he could walk away from Alexandria. Judith's not in Alexandria. Judith is in Oceanside. Judith left with Michonne to go to Hilltop, from Hilltop to Oceanside, and the expectation is, as far as they know, that they're going to be there. Now, Judith is going to be on her way back to Alexandria. But I also feel like Negan cares about Judith, but it's not his fight, right? I mean, he's not the guardian. He's not the father. You can like somebody and walk away. So Negan didn't want to stay there another day to get executed. Michonne wasn't even there when he was about to be executed the next day. So he had to get out of Dodge. It wasn't, hey, where's Judith? Judith's over here. What's going on with that? He had to get out. And I feel like, okay, look, I care about this little girl, but I got to move on. She's better off without me because she's got her mom there to protect her. He doesn't know that Michonne is going out to the island with Virgil to go find Rick's belt buckle. I mean, those things are going to happen. And see, now you guys are starting to delve into it. Like when we started, and this is what our chats are about. So, first of all, I want to thank you guys for being here. If you guys are having a good time talking about The Walking Dead and you're super hyped up about Sunday night, hit the like button. We're going to talk. We're going to debate. But when we started this stream, we had 2/3 of the audience was a little shaky. And we had about 1/3 hanging on. And now you guys are starting to unclench the fist a little bit and entertain dialogue. I'm not trying to make you see a specific point of view. I just want to get all the options out there on the table. And once we get all the options out there, we can scrap the ones that don't make sense, and then we can funnel it down. Fair enough? Is it deal? But in order to have that happen, you cannot successfully attend one of our streams and have one-track mind and only stick to that one-track mind. Because I'm going to battle you, and I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to get you to think about all these different scenarios. And you know what? We might get to the end of it, and your idea might have actually been the right idea. But our job here is to look at the psychology of the character and tie it in with how they're writing the character, with how they're producing the character, and whether or not it all makes sense. And that's the balance that I want to provide to you guys when we're in one of our streams. So we got Amy Bones Ferreira. Negan is like Lydia, an outsider. That is true as well. You've got kind of two peas in a pod. And once again, Lydia's gone. So Negan takes this path. And we see some good in Negan, right? I mean, we saw the nut tap scene and we saw the revenge on Brandon. I mean, we know that he still has that ferocious side. And I think part because we saw that, we're thinking, all right, he's walking into the Whisper camp with an agenda. And it would be unfair and it would be short-sighted of me to think Negan is not always one step ahead, because he is. But even if he's one step ahead, he might not be a step ahead in the direction that we think that he is in. Now, when I saw the conversation with Negan and Alpha, it to me looked like there's one of two things. He's trying to survive and get a little bit of credibility, so he gets to sleep on a nicer bed and he gets to eat some better food and he gets some benefits. Or he's totally getting her to let her guard down by flattering her with her leadership and all of these things and all of that. Or, you know what, there's a third option. That it's a combination of both. And based on what happened to Negan in Alexandria, and based on the dialogue that I saw between the two of them, I think he's trying to fit in. I think he's trying to be a part of the group. And maybe he can influence them not to kill so many of them. But at the same time, I don't think he cares about who she kills in the cave. It's got some good comments in here. Chris Allman says the war starts because of Alpha's death. It seems the war only lasts for a couple episodes. Do you think goes into season 11? I have insight into that. So I can't really answer. But my hope, Chris, has always been that there's some whispers always out there, always lurking. You know, I wanted that evil to sort of always be there. But if I had to lean toward a secondary option, I would say do not give up on the fact that Negan might want to lead again, that he might want to build something, that he might want that authority, and he ain't going to get it in Alexandria, he ain't going to get it in Hilltop. There's no way that Daryl is going to give him the keys, and there's no way that Maggie is going to give him the keys. So the only people that he's ever going to be able to lead is the remainder of the Whisperers. And don't get me wrong. There are some people in the Whisperers that want Alpha dead. We already saw that. So, the question I'm going to ask you guys again, do any of you see a current Whisperer being a part of Alexandria or Hilltop? I know they accepted some of the saviors. Do you see Maggie or Daryl allowing any of the Whisperers to join the community? I mean, this feels different, doesn't it? Doesn't this feel different than the saviors? So, Anna, I'm not saying can they be redeemed. I'm saying will they be redeemed? All right. So most people say no. So if you say no, what happens to all of them? Are we going to kill them all? I mean, that would be a heck of a war, right? So there's 100 of us, 100 of them, and we're going to kill all 100 of them, and we're only going to lose a couple people in the cave. Something seems wrong with that. I mean, some movies do play out that way. But this is a group that knows how to fight. This is not a bunch of pushovers. You either got to have a master plan. That would be a heck of a win. So at some point, you got to get at a stalemate. Now, your leaders killed their leaders. Then you get them to lay down their guns. You get them to lay down their masks. But I still would be surprised, even if the Whisperers gave up, if Maggie or Daryl accepted this group into their group. That would be a tough transition. Be a very tough transition. So, and I get what you're saying. The Whisperers have good training on survival. But the problem with the Whisperers is, exactly, Cindy Parks, that's my point. Their ideals are totally different. Many of them have already been brainwashed and psychologically broken down to a point that you don't know if they're going to stab you in the back. If you took in the Whisperers, you would almost need to set up your own psychiatric ward to try to understand and get them back to a certain degree. And I'm not here to say what they should do or what they can do. I'm just saying what they will do, and I think at this point, when you're at a point in a zombie apocalypse where do you want to go to sleep every night and wonder, you don't know these people. The saviors were different than the Whisperers. The Whisperers are almost at the most primitive point of society because Alpha and Beta have broken them to a degree that I don't even know if you can trust them. I mean, Carol was there talking to this guy, and he spits the sandwich back in her face. That's just one small instance. But imagine having hundreds of people that you just don't know what it's going to turn into. So my question, Anna, demo for you. If you were the leader of Hilltop, would you want 50 of these Whispers sleeping in the rooms right next door to your dorm? I get it. I see the argument you're making, but I'm going to make it personal. If you were the leader of Hilltop, would you just have these guys, if they turn themselves in tomorrow, would you be okay with them being in your community with maybe only 15 or 20 people that you've known for years? Because I wouldn't. So, well, maybe. But you know what? I'm living. You're probably not. I'm going to find a way to survive the zombie apocalypse. And it's no hate on them. It's just they're at a different point. This is not a normal society any longer. If we're talking about doing gracious things and helping people in today's day and age, I get it. But we're not. We're talking about 10 years into a zombie apocalypse where people are not the same people that they were at that point. People will stab you for a sandwich. Look at Magna. I mean, you think you can trust Magna? You can't even trust Magna. You know, we could probably go around and around with this all night. I'm going to tell you, the majority of the audience is not accepting the Whisperers into their community. Especially not knowing anything about them. Now, if you spent a little time with them, so, okay, I'm going to do a follow-up, and this is for Anna and Marcia. Would you guys be okay with Negan sleeping in the room right next to you? Not in a jail cell, but sleeping right next to you and having full reins to go anywhere and everywhere that he wants to go. Okay. See, that's the difference between you and the people in Alexandria. Because they don't. So if they won't even trust Negan after 7 years, what makes you think that they're going to trust the Whisperers? That's my point. So it's not always about what we would do. It's about what the characters are going to do. Maggie's not going to trust Negan, so she's definitely not trusting the Whisperers. So that's where we kind of got to get into the psychology of what the characters will allow, what the characters will do. I mean, they locked Negan up for 7 years. And then, at a drop of a hat, they were going to execute Negan for defending Lydia. So I just don't feel like the group is going to all of a sudden soften up and just start becoming a place to reform people that Alpha have broken down for years and years. But I transition back to kind of the point of where Negan is at and the end of Negan. Because something has to change. The story does not go forward in its current state. So Negan has to completely conform, or Negan has to leave, or Negan has to die. Now, I lean away from the Negan death, but is Negan still of value to the franchise, value to a spinoff, value to a movie? Certainly. But can Negan and Maggie coexist? And at this point, do you guys even want to see Negan and Maggie coexist after 7 years? Haven't we already seen that story? Is there value to the story for the two of them to coexist? And then every time something drops, Maggie's freaking out and she wants to kill him again. So it just doesn't seem like there's a refreshing perspective to it. And I'm looking for any avenue that would make a little bit of sense. And if you're telling me that Negan is there to help the group, but they don't care, and then Negan's going to be a hero, he's going to kill some people, and then the Whisperers are going to come back and join Alexandria, then where are we? Where are we with the story? That Daryl and Carol and Negan and the rest of the Whisperers and Maggie are going to sit down a hilltop and have a cup of latte? That just doesn't feel congruent. Doesn't feel like it's part of the story that is going to happen. But Maggie coming back and a Negan exit, Negan starting to kind of get the itch to be a leader again, not having to murder all of these Whisperers, and because Negan has kind of lived among them, transition a few. Look, this is a ready-made heaven for Negan. I mean, he loves the yes sir, yes sir. And for them, it's a step up from Alpha. Negan's probably not going to kill a Whisperer if they see him cry. So they get a little better leader, and he gets unfettered loyalty. And it keeps some of them alive and gives them an opportunity. And I like it because it kind of keeps that neutral feel that Tom Ferreira was talking about earlier. It kind of keeps that they're out there. What happens if they overrun Negan? You know, maybe they have another rise to power. Maybe something happens in the background, but I just didn't want them all killed off. But I just don't see a way, unless you exile them. I think you either have to exile them or kill them. You know, how are you even going to know them? That's Dirty Joe over there. Yeah. Don't know who you are. You had that mask of Jesus. I mean, it's tough. It's tough of how it's going to play out. We got Tom Ferreira. I wonder how Maggie's going to react when she finds out that the Whisperers killed Jesus, Tara, and Enid. Well, Tom, she damn sure ain't going to have them come back with open arms. Yeah, see, that's a great point. Is, you know, we just think about the dynamic between Negan and Maggie. And this is why they almost needed to show like the Whispers celebrating the same way that Negan celebrated. I mentioned this about a year ago. You cannot have the Whispers in the gray area, because when they are in the gray area, this is the problem it creates. We see Alpha as ridiculously evil. But believe it or not, there's people that watch our streams because they like Ryan Hurst so much. They're like, well, we can take Beta in. Really? We're going to forgive Beta because we like the actor? We're just going to make him one of our own because he was under the spell of Alpha? There's no way. There's no way. But I would kind of go back to the same question. What has Beta really done compared to Alpha? You can't redeem everybody. Well, it leaves Beta dead. Beta's dying this season. I have zero doubt Beta dies. Beta's not going to be another Abraham. He's not going to sing country music songs in the background for the group. He is dead. I feel like I agree. So let's get a quick vote. Who kills Beta? I think Negan kills Beta. I think Negan kills Beta because something happens with Lydia. And I don't think that Negan gets the alpha kill. At this point, that's really got to be Carol. It's really got to be Carol. With all the hype and all the build-up and all the revenge, I envision... All right, I'm going to give you guys my super bold prediction. I think Carol kills Alpha and Daryl allows it to happen. Because you know how they're going back and forth now, right? Like, Carol wants revenge and Daryl's like, no, we ain't fighting for no revenge. We're fighting for our future. You know, Daryl is like trying to be partial Rick Grimes. And I think that after this goes down with Connie in the cave, that Carol and Daryl are going to be there, and Daryl's going to have the chance to stop her, and Carol's going to just cut her throat, and Daryl's going to allow it. And that way you know Daryl's still got that ability to cross over to that dark side. And then we'll see. We'll see how it plays out with Negan. Or maybe even there is an olive branch. But there's one more thing. So, one more thing that you guys are forgetting. And I'm going to leave this stream at that. Is Negan a smart guy? Pretty simple question, right? Does Negan have the ability to care about people? Not saying does he always do the right thing. Does he have the ability to care about people? Okay. Do you guys think that Negan is smart enough to realize that there could be another Brandon out there that admires Negan behind the scenes, and as long as Negan is around, that reputation always creates a risk for the next person wanting to become that? Do you think the Brandon story was a little bit more than a coincidence? That it kind of played into the fact that this kid just idolized him so much. And if Negan stays around this situation, do you think Negan actually sees himself as a potential risk to other people? And that's what I want you to think about. It's not always just about whether or not they will take him back. Negan might understand that him being there jeopardizes other people. Well, Marcia, it is his problem because that's why he left in the first place. He left to get away, and after he killed Brandon, he didn't come back. He kept moving forward. So don't just gloss over the fact that that was somebody from Alexandria that had been watching, that had been idolizing him, that had grown into something. There's always that potential as long he carries those demons around, and he's never going to get rid of those demons and who he was. Sometimes, and you guys should know this well, no matter how hard you try to shake the past, there's always one asshat that is never going to let it go. And with that, everybody, we are going to close this stream down. I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Thanks for everything that you guys do. Do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up if you like dissecting, talking about The Walking Dead. We're going to be back here Thursday night, and then Saturday morning. You guys know a lot of people are going to watch the premiere, so we'll get confirmation. And then after everybody else catches up on Sunday night and watches the show, we're going to do our reaction video immediately after. So we're going to have a great time. We got a lot of streams lined up for you guys. So you guys know we're pulling double duty here. Double duty. We're doing Play Dead Live tomorrow night. Show up here Wednesday night. We're going to have some challenge matches. It's going to be a great time. If you're a brand new player, you just want to see what it's all about, hang out with us, roll a character, and if you had a long day, come in and fight each other. It's all virtual. So it's a great time. Thursday, we're back with Walking Dead. Friday night, we're doing Play Dead Live, Crowley's Farm, Chapter 2. So we got something for you guys every single night. And next week, we're going to start doing double shots. So we'll be streaming early and streaming late. So everybody's got a chance to get involved. We got Tom Bug Ferrer on the way out the door. Says, I predict that Beta possibly tries to kill Lydia, and Negan saves her, and Lydia kills Alpha. Possibly. Lydia could still get the kill, but Bug, I think with all the hype around Carol, if it doesn't happen, it's going to be a big disappointment at this moment. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for challenge fights. Have a good one. Peace.